All right, how's everyone doing today? It is December 18th. I believe it's Wednesday. I've been sick for a while, so every time I wake up, and I said this yesterday, every time I wake up the last few days, I'm like, what day is it today? So enough with the rambling. Today is something that I've actually been waiting for. Today is about creating a realistic business plan that will, I personally believe, strongly believe that will give you a shot at success. Okay. A lot of folks, that's in the business, has a lot of experience, have explained to you how to be successful, what you need to do, have shared the KPIs that you need to follow in order to be successful. And RJ just created a great video a couple of weeks ago. I believe it's 0 to 1 million, right? Well, he broke down the numbers, and that video was perfect. I think it's better than anyone's out there because he was honest and he was realistic with his numbers. That being said, I want to take it like one step further, okay? Because for some of you folks who are watching that are, already a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, or maybe you're still a 9 to 5, but you're in sales, right? And you're in a full commission job, or even not a full commission job where you have bonuses, where your income depends on the transactions, right? You Everything that RJ says, all you need, you can carry that ball, run with it, and you'll be successful, right? Obviously, you got to couple it with hard work and grit, and great and consistent work. So yes, but I'm speaking to I believe the majority of the people who are trying to get into the wholesaling business, who are the 9 to 5 folks who perhaps have never done a business or never been in a sales position, sales job. And they see this as a low entry, low barrier way to have a side hustle with an upside potential, right? Those are the people that I'm speaking to, because what RJ did was great. Now I'm just going to break it down a little bit further so that it can give you a shot at success. Okay. But before I get to that, just a quick introduction for some of the folks that are new to my channel. My name is Caesar. I started wholesaling virtually in November of 2023. So literally just a little bit over 12 months ago. And in the first 12 months, I did, why is my thing look? I did over $100,000 of assignment fees, close and funded. Okay. So not like the greatest, okay, but I'm very happy with it. And I'm just a regular 9 to 5 guy, regular guy who left the 9 to 5 grind, trying to create freedom and legacy. So really the goal of this channel is to grow together and inspire each other to action. So no excuses, just moves. So I do my live daily calls as well with sellers, and anyone is welcome to hop on board, make live calls with me online. If you don't want to go live, you can put yourself on mute. At the end of the day, it's a platform for you to create that synergy towards success. Okay. That being said, I've created this series of 12 days to start your wholesaling business, which are the 12 things that I personally had to do when I first started, kind of like my roadmap. And also, a lot of these are questions that I get from other wholesalers who are in the same situation as I am or newer than me. Okay. So those are the things that I've been hitting on throughout this whole series. But today is all about creating a realistic business plan and how to look at it so that you can have a plan of action and how you can attack it so that you have, a shot at success. Okay. So I know today is going to be the first day where I'm all by myself. It's probably going to be pretty tough talking to myself here. And no edits, just live. So guys, feel free to drop in any questions in the chat. Smash that like button. I'd really appreciate that. And I'm just gonna go ahead and keep going with this thing. So let me share my screen with y'all. 1 second. So I've put something together. And one thing I've realized that I absolutely love the live more than editing videos. I think it's more raw. I'm able to be myself and just do what I need to do to provide value for you guys, right? Who doesn't want value? All right. So what I have here is creating a realistic wholesaling business plan for the 9-to-5 guy or gal looking to add income and or completely break away from the 9-to-5 rat race. Okay. And so what I'd like to do right now is just open your mind on a few things. Whenever I have switched from one industry to another or from one company to another, on the first day, I always see myself sitting on my desk and I write down 3 things. And these are the 3 key ingredients for success that I learned from my mentors. Some of them, God bless their soul. Some of them are still alive. Rock, how you doing, buddy? Haas. So I'm going to share this with you guys because this has helped me wherever I go. And this is my foundation. Okay. The 3 key ingredients to success or for success are activity / product knowledge, know-how, and inspiration to action. If you can just get it down to the simplest form to these 3 things, and I want to explain each one of these 3 to you, okay? And once again, I'm going to the basics. So if you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or someone in sales that you know your income depends on the transaction volume, one, this may be too basic for you, but if not, it will be a refresher. And then for you folks who are in sales, man, let me know in the comments whether you agree, disagree, any questions at all would be greatly appreciated. Okay. So I always start off with these 3 things. This is my foundation, no matter where I go, whether I'm doing wholesaling, selling software, or whatever it is. What's my activity, product knowledge? I got to increase that. I got to know the know-how, and I got to have inspiration to action. I can help you on the first 2, okay? But the third one, that's all you. Now, I'm going to give you some framework around it so that you can start getting your mind thinking. But at the end of the day, that last one, that's all you, right? Because no one can inspire you. No one can motivate you. Only you can inspire you. Only you can motivate you. Okay, so let's get back to the first one, activity and product knowledge. So November 2023, actually October, it was Halloween of last year. That's when I decided I'm going to get into wholesaling, right? I've scrolled through social media feeds, Facebook, Instagram, and I've watched King Kong. Let's go make that money. That was the guy that I was watching at that point, mainly him. And then I got introduced to folks like Pace Morby, Harry Klein, a few other folks, so forth and so forth. And then finally, I came across the man, the myth, the legend, RJ Bates. He's the one that resonated with me the most because he kept it as simple as possible, to the simplest form. And that's what I'm going to do for you guys today as well. Okay. So Halloween of last year, I decided I'm going to come up with a plan. And the first 3 things I wrote down: activity, product knowledge, know-how, and inspiration to action. Okay. In order for us to create a business plan, we first got to understand what the heck's the business, right? What is it? Okay. So I'm going to take the first few minutes. For a lot of you folks probably know this already, so just bear with me on here. But some of you folks who are starting, what is wholesaling? Okay. So what is wholesaling? Well, wholesaling is, actually, before I do that, wholesaling is finding distressed properties or homeowners in distressed situations who are willing to sell their property at a discount in exchange for speed and convenience. It is as simple as that, right? So you need to find, wholesaling is finding those deals, right? Those distressed properties where the owner is willing to sell their property at a discount. So let's say 50 cents on a dollar, so that they can get the money as quickly as possible to solve whatever problem that they have, all right, whatever they want to achieve. Okay, so our job is finding those deals, and when we find those deals, we want to lock it up under a contract at 50 cents on the dollar. So let's say the house is worth 100,000. We get under contract to purchase the house for $50,000. Okay, that's the first part of wholesaling. The second part of wholesaling is now assigning that contract over to an end buyer. Okay, that's the investor at 60,000. Okay, so in other words, you get under contract to purchase the property at 50. Now you assign the contract over to an end buyer for 60,000. So the delta, meaning the difference between the two, is $10,000. That is your assignment fee. Okay, that is your spread, right? That's how much gets paid to you. So in other words, wholesaling is you get a property under contract at a certain price, you sell that contract or assign that contract to an end buyer at a slightly higher price, and that difference is how you get paid. Okay, so I'm sure you guys have heard that before. I just wanted to have a basic, just in case for some folks who are new, so that way we don't leave anyone behind. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. That's exactly everything that I said, right? So at the end of the day, this is a market. This is a market where, this is a market where people need help, because realtors' main concern is to get the highest commission, because that's how they get paid. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying they're bad people, right? The highest commission, which means they really want to sell what? The shiny, newly built, remodeled homes, right? So who's going to help the little guy down the street who's 80 years old and just wants to be able to sell the house so that he can enjoy the rest of his life, right? And doesn't matter whether he sells at 100,000 or 50,000, because 50,000 is good enough for him. Okay, so who's going to help those guys? That's where we come in. There's a market for us to really help people out, not to just be a, like RJ like to say, be a piece of shit and just lowball people, right? At the end of the day, we do have to get those contracts under contract. Yeah, to get those deals under contract at a discount, okay, to a point so that we can make a little bit of money for providing, right, a solution, okay? So that's what that is. As far as a wholesaler, what is my job? My job is to what? To find people in need of help, okay? Find people in need of help and find a win-win solution that will help the seller, and that will also make it profitable to the end buyer, okay? So in other words, we get it under contract low enough, okay, that it's profitable to the end buyer, but also not so low that the seller is giving it away for free, right? It's still got to achieve their goal. Okay. So in other words, guys, this is one thing that I had to learn. So I'm going to give it to you now. Hopefully they will save you a whole lot of time, is that we are deal finders. We are not deal makers. We find deals and then we come up with a solution, a win-win solution that will provide the solution that the seller needs, but at the same time, still profitable for the end buyer. Does that make sense? So guys, that's one thing we got to know. We are deal finders, not deal makers, right? We're not deal manufacturers. We're deal finders. So then now, this is literally how, by the way, this is I'm getting you guys inside my mind in November of 2023, okay? This is what I had to think about. This part right here that I just told you, I didn't learn that until a month and a half, 2 months later, okay? So now I'm giving it to you now. We're deal finders, not deal makers. So then now I go, okay, so now I understand the business. So that means I got to find motivated sellers, right? And I also got to find buyers. So with those motivated sellers, the question then becomes, where do I find them? Another question that I had to come up with is, well, how do I talk to these motivated sellers? And then how do I know I'm making the correct offer to these motivated sellers, and what contracts do I use, right? So these are the questions that I have to find answers to before I start the business. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so where do I find the sellers? How do I talk to them? How do I know if I'm making the right offer? Because you just told me, Caesar, you gotta find the deal sweet enough where the seller is still happy, but it's still profitable for the end buyer, right? So how do I do that? And then finally, if I do all of that, how do I get it under contract? Because you said earlier, you got to get it under contract, right? And then once I have it under contract, then where do I find the buyers? How do I talk to the buyers? What contracts do I use for the buyers, right? So those are the questions that I literally wrote down on my notebook, Halloween of 2023. So I'm bringing all of this together for you guys, and that way you can see how I came up with a roadmap for myself, right? To have 6 figures of assignment fees closed and funded within the first 12 months. Okay. So where do I find motivated sellers? For some of you folks that are watching, where do you find motivated sellers, man? If you guys can drop it on the chat, that would help me out. I'll take a quick drink here. So there's different ways of finding it, right? A lot of the gurus out there are going, hey man, go to the county, pull up list of pre-foreclosures, divorces, city code violations, probate, so forth and so forth. So all of those make sense, right? You can do that. Those are all free. Now, that being said, when you pull up those lists, you still gotta what? Call them. You gotta cold call them. There you go, Manny. Cold calling, right? So then how do you find those numbers? Well, you find those numbers by skip tracing, okay? Now, people make money doing this. So I'm not saying it's the old way. I'm not saying it doesn't work anymore, because it still does. But the one thing that I did not like about it, the issue that I had, was that when I would skip trace them, all the damn numbers were wrong numbers. I'm calling their renters, not the owners, right? There's so many. I would have to call 300, 500 in order for me to actually get at bat and start talking to sellers to see if they're even motivated enough. Okay. So I absolutely hated that, but I still did it. And I still did it because why? Because I needed repetition. I knew that every time I get my ass kicked, every time someone tells me no, someone tells me to kick rocks, every time someone hangs up on me, for me, that's a win. Okay. That's another thing I want to explain to you guys. A lot of new folks, especially who has never been in sales, they shy away from it. They're afraid of the no's. They're afraid to get told to kick rocks, right? Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Welcome it, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not, right? So just quick story. When I first started selling insurance, oh gosh, back in early 2000, 2005, 2003, managing partner asked me, what is your number one goal, Caesar? Actually, he asked the whole room. Everyone's like, oh, I want to make $100,000. I want to make $10,000 my first month. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to achieve the winner's circle, blah, 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 blah. Guess what the number one goal should be when you're starting a sales job or a business like this? Anyone want to take a guess? So I still remember Beverly Chrisman, and Chris, husband and wife. I go, nope, your number one goal is to get 300 no's. Because when you get 300 no's, you will know all the objection in the book, and you would know how to handle them, right? The quicker you get through the 300 no's, the quicker you're going to get through that learning experience. So you want to get that 300 no's as soon as possible. So welcome those no's, guys. Okay. So I kind of got lost track there. So going back to, I hated those cold callings, not because I hated cold calling. I actually love to cold call because I know I have a lot to learn when I cold call people. Okay. But I hated cold calling those lists because the majority of those numbers were wrong numbers. I would literally be on the phone for like half an hour dialing because they're all incorrect. They're all wrong numbers. I hated it. I'm like, I should be half an hour talking to someone, not half an hour dialing freaking numbers. So whenever I would go on for hours without talking to someone, guess what I would do? I would go on Zillow and I would go on FSBOs, for sale by owners. Why? Because those people are raising their hand. They want to sell their homes. So why not talk to them? Did I know how to talk to them? A little bit, because I watched some videos, right? But I knew every call that I make, I'm learning something. So guys, so the reason why I'm taking a little bit of time on this is because a lot of people are so caught up into how much money they make in the first 30, 60, 90 days, but you haven't gotten your 300 no's yet, right? Focus on the learning part, and then the money will come later. Okay? So where can you find motivated sellers? That's really the question. And where you can find them is FSBOs, which is for free. And someone's put it, Ray mentioned it earlier, PPLs, paper leads, okay? There's pay-per clicks and paper leads, so PPCs and PPLs. PPCs are more expensive because you're paying per click. Usually ends up being in the $300, $400, sometimes $500 per lead. Paper lead, on the other hand, is that you're paying per lead, not per click, okay? So these leads are a little bit more affordable. Now, when I first started, I literally started with just $2,000, my phone, and my MacBook. That's it. So I wanted to make sure that I spent that $2,000 to leads, more importantly than anything else. Now, at that point, I didn't know anything about PPCs and PPLs. All I knew was list stacking, right? Pulling up all these records, skip tracing them. So I probably spent about $500 on that. And then I was like, nope, I'm just going to go FSBOs. And then that's when I started learning about PPCs and PPLs. So what I have on here is FSBOs and speed to lead. And here's the reason why, guys. FSBOs are free and the phone numbers are the right numbers 90% of the time. Meaning I get to go to bat, right? I get to talk to people. That's the most important thing, is you want to make sure that you are talking to people all the time. You want to make sure you're getting no's all the time, especially when you're starting. So FSBOs was perfect for me. It was a way for me to practice. I didn't care whether I got a contract or not. I just want to be in front of someone. Okay. So before I start paying for leads, I'd rather make my, excuse my language, my fuck ups on free leads, which is our FSBOs. So look at FSBOs are kind of like your sandlot. That's where you get to play and learn mistakes. Okay. That's where you get better. And then once you're better, that's when you start buying leads. Now, we do use different forms. We use property leads, speed to lead. We used to use Lead Zolo. We don't use them as much anymore. There are pros and cons on property leads versus speed to lead, which I'll put together. I already have a video on speed to lead. I also have another video on property leads, so you can watch those. RJ had already put up the pros and videos on pros and cons on both. But the reason why I like speed to lead a lot is because it is the least expensive out of all. You can literally pay $29 a lead. Okay, that's huge. So think about it. I only have $2,000. I already wasted $500, so I now have $1,500. So $29 a lead. So let's just say 30. So 30, 60. So what's that? 1,500 divided by 30. What is that? That's 50 leads. I now have 50 motivated sellers that I can call. Guess what? That's much better than 2,000 or 5,000 cold call lists that you have, because you don't know who are motivated or not. Okay. So for me, I like speed to lead because it gives you enough runway to have enough volume for you to make mistakes and actually come across someone who's willing and able and ready to sell at that moment. Okay. We'll take a little break here. I'm going to look at what Matt says here. Matt says, my biggest struggle has been has been getting leads and correct phone numbers. Oh, all right. I've built a list just driving during the day. I just haven't had the money for skip trace software. Matt, got an easy solution for you, brother. I know this might be a little tough to do, but you just got to get over it and do it. Instead of spending the money to skip trace them, you already drove by it. Why not just park and knock on the door? You know what I mean? And by the way, you can say, hey, you know what? I was just driving. I'm an investor. I buy properties in the area. I've got a meeting to go to, but I would really love to know if you're looking to sell your property. Oh, yes, I am. Great. Let me grab your name and phone number. By the way, here's my name and number. I'll call you. I'll text you right now so you have my information. I know I'm going to be busy for the rest of the day. I'll give you a call either by the end of the day or tomorrow morning. Does that sound good? Cool. So I know it might be tough to go, man, I'm not ready to talk to people yet. So you don't want to knock on those doors, but you don't have to talk to them. All you have to do is ask them if they're looking to sell. If they're looking to sell, grab their name and phone number, and then you just go. All right. Now they might be tenants in there. If they're tenants, be like, hey man, like how's rent? How's your landlord? Is he good? Oh yeah. Oh, landlord's actually an asshole. Oh man, bro, I'm pretty good. What if I grab your landlord's name and number and I can give him a call? I'll buy this property and keep you on here. Maybe improve your lifestyle. Will that sound cool? Oh yeah, man, that sounds cool. Here's his number. All right, Matt, you're right. Thank you for this. Absolutely, man. Sometimes the simplest thing is in front of us and we just miss it, right? And sometimes it just takes someone to just bring it up to you. By the way, even though I made that suggestion, I want to tell you guys a funny story. In the beginning, just like everyone else, that phone gets heavy, that door knock, right, is heavy, it's scary. Bro, I would run in the morning. I saw this property. I'm like, oh man, that looks like it'll be good. Jot it down. Skip traced it. Never called it. Dude, 2 weeks later, it's on the market for sale. 2 days later, it's sold. And I'm like, oh. So that was a learning lesson for me, right? So from that day forward, I never missed it. So just wanted to bring that up to you guys. All right, cool. So now we got that answer, right? Where do we find motivated sellers? FSBOs and speed to lead, okay? I'm going to do a quick shameless plug. If you look at my description below, I have my affiliated link for speed to lead. I don't get much. I think I get maybe $50. So I get 1.5 lead once you purchase a lead. And that's it, right? It's not like I get a revenue share for your lifetime. I literally get 1 lead. So that would help out a lot. And so if you can do that, I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you don't want to, totally fine. I can afford those leads. So then now the question is, how do I talk to them, right? Now you know where to go. All right, Caesar, I got FSBOs. I got some money on speed to the lead. I got some package deals. How do I talk to them? So back in Halloween of 2023, that day, I told myself I'm going to give myself 14 days to just consume content on YouTube. Just watch as much content as I can for 14 days. I gave myself 14 days. On the 15th day, come hell or high water, I'm going to pick up that phone, even if it's 500 pounds, right? Doesn't matter how much I know or how little I know, I'm going to pick up that phone. So November 15 was my very first day of picking up my phones. And that's why if you've looked at my videos, I have my moment of truth, which I did on November 15 of this year, because for me, that's my 1 year anniversary, right? Because November 15 was the first day that I had committed to income-driven activities, right? Which is picking up the phone. The first 2 weeks, all I did was consume content. So for you folks that are new, maybe you do the same thing. Maybe you only need a few days. Maybe you need a week. For me, 2 weeks was what I was comfortable with. I think anything over 2 weeks is just way too much. Why? Because you're going to start getting into that paralysis by analysis, right? Where you're overthinking things. One thing I always say is Do the ready, fire, aim approach. Just know enough to be dangerous to be able to do something and start firing. Why? Because no matter what, whether you only did 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, the very first time you're going to pick up the phone, guess what? You're going to have butterflies. You're going to screw up. You're going to sound like a fucking idiot. Plain and simple. Doesn't matter whether it took you 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. So, if that's the case, then just do 2 weeks. You're going to make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, you aim. You're going to make more mistakes. You're going to learn. You re-aim. That's why it's called ready, fire, aim instead of a ready, aim, fire, right? In the military, they say ready, aim, fire. Business, ready, fire, aim. You want to just know enough, move quickly because you want to move quicker than the competition, okay? Take a quick break there. Matt, when going to your county to get foreclosure, tax liens, and other lease, does that include their contact phone number? That is a great question, my friend. I don't know because I never did because I just got sick and tired of the wrong numbers when I list stacked them. So I don't know the answer to that question. If anyone else that's watching that has an answer to that question, go ahead and drop it on the chat. I'll leave that question up there for a while for anyone else that maybe may jump on and might know the answer to that question. Okay, cool. So where am I at now? How do I talk to them? So yeah, so that's when I did 2 weeks worth. Guys, I'm going to make it easy for you. By the way, you can follow whoever you want to follow, right? I'm going to tell you, I followed King Kong before. Let's go make that money. Guy's good, right? He's successful in his own right. Pace Morby with creative financing. Successful in his own right. RJ Bates, successful in his own right. All of their stuff works, man. Find the one that resonates with you the most and just follow that. Follow that and have enough repetition for you to decide whether, hey, this one's not working for me or this one works for me. Okay? One thing I will tell you, I'm a little biased because I'm part of Titanium, but I'm only part of Titanium because when I followed RJ Bates' YouTube videos, short videos, all it took me was one short video and I locked up a deal. Simple as that, right? Because he kept it as simple as possible, guys. So for me, I would just say follow RJ Bates. Okay. King Closer's 5-step formula. It is as simple as that. Anyone on here that's part of Titanium or been watching RJ Bates, you guys know the 5-step formula. When you talk to these people, ask them if they're looking to sell. So verify that they're selling. Once they say, yes, I am looking to sell, ask how much they're looking to get for it. This is huge. And RJ have explained this many times, right? And he's dead on this. It puts you in a different level. Everyone else is teaching you to make an offer, right? Meaning you're selling them the idea why they should sell their property to you. Does that even make sense? You're selling them the idea why they should sell the property to you. No, man, they're selling their property. They should sell you the idea why you should buy that property, right? And I don't know, say I knew this right off the bat, but after a few trials and errors, like I knew there's got to be a simple way to go about it because they're selling, I'm buying. There's got to be a way for me to do this so that I'm here and they're here, right? Meaning they're selling and now I'm asking for their price. And then I came across RJ Shorts. Hey, I entered information on my site. Looks like you're looking to sell. Is that still all right? Yeah. How much you looking to get for it? Bro, light bulb. I'm like, what a dummy. Why didn't I just think of that? How much are you looking to get for it? Why did I follow all the other guys, try to make it as complicated as possible instead of just asking how much you looking to get for it? Right? RJ ask it. Seller gives him the number. I'm like, what the fuck, right? So verify they're selling. Ask how much they're looking to get for it. Once they tell you, and this is genius of RJ Bates, third thing is tell me what you got going on. Tell me what you got going on should open up. It's an open-ended question, should open up to about anywhere from 2 to 5 minute conversation. Okay. Unless you're talking to someone that gives one word answers, then obviously that can be 30 seconds. But it's open-ended enough where it gives you enough runway. And this is where skills, repetition come into play. This is where you would have to ask follow-up questions to extend that, right? So in sales, you're always closing every single goalpost. You're closing them to the next step. Okay. So tell me what you got going on. It's such an open-ended question that sellers usually would go, oh man, I lost my job, or I'm battling cancer, or I inherited the property. They're going to tell you their life story. Listen, because this is when you want to listen and get that motivation out. Motivation is key, guys, because if you don't have the motivation, then they're always going to ask for the highest price. And once again, our job is to do what? Our job is to find a win-win solution that can help the seller, but also have it low enough that it's profitable for the end buyer, right? So if there's no motivation, price is high, that means we're wasting our time. Okay? So it's really important to get that motivation. Once they tell you that motivation, then you can ask a little bit about the condition. Hey, tell me what you got going on with the property. Then they tell you about the property. Okay? Now, at this time, that question there does two things for you. One, you get all the information you need to be able to close, but it also gives you time to do step number 4, which is comp and underwrite. Okay? Now, today's call is all about creating a business plan, not comping underwriting. So if you want to learn about comping and underwriting, I have other videos about that. You can also watch RJ's. I did a day 5, I believe, which is comping with Cassie. Cassie's RJ's business partner. She's the comp queen. She's killer when it comes to comping. So watch that. That's day 5. Okay. So tell me what you got going on. Opens a runway for you to get enough information to be able to close the deal and also to be able to comp and underwrite. Okay. So that's step 4. Step 5, close and stay close. Okay. Now, excuse me for 1 second, guys, because I'm still a little sick and I got to blow my nose. I don't want to do this in front of you all. So give me one quick second. All right. So where are we at? Close and stay close. Okay. So this is where you get into closing a deal. Hey, Mr. Seller, if I can buy the property off you, close in 30 days, buy the property as is, you don't have to worry about fixing anything. I pay all the closing costs, no realtor fees. What's the best that you can do for me? They said $250 in the beginning. Now they're like $220. You just got a 10%. Usually that question will give you a 10% discount right off the bat. So even if you screw up throughout the whole call, even if you screw up the whole five point closers formula, you ask that one question, you're going to get a drop. 9 out of 10. Or maybe 8 out of 10. Because then you're going to get a couple of smart asses who's going to stay at that number. Okay? So how do I talk to the sellers? Guys, RJ's King Closers Formula. Follow RJ Bates. RJ Bates the third on YouTube. Also, if you want to be part of the Titanium, another shameless plug, in the description below, I do have my link. So you can go ahead and sign up for that. I know their 8th class is close now, but they're opening another one in January. So next month, I believe, or late January, early February. Okay. Literally learned all of this just following and watching all these YouTube shorts and YouTube videos. So how do I know I'm making the correct offer? Well, that's where you're going to have to spend a little bit more. Okay. What's good is that RJ has they're selling their profit calculator, and I believe, don't quote me on this, I am 90% sure this link will get you not only the calculator, but also the next part is the contracts. So I believe, I don't know exactly how much it is right now, but I believe it was $99 before, somewhere in the $100 range. You will get all of the contracts that they use and also their calculator. Okay. Now, I just want to take a little second here. As far as their calculator goes, people always ask me, like, what are the key moments of this year, Caesar? One of them was joining the Titanium family. Okay. And we joined him because we were just watching his videos. So whatever we had to pay RJ, that was just from the money that we already made. So for us, it's joining him for free. When we joined Titanium, we got a hold of their calculator, and that was huge for us. Okay. Why? Because I was doing the typical 70% of ARV minus rehab, minus assignment fee. That's my maximum allowable offer. Did that. My deals didn't go through, didn't hit the finish line. Oh, then I started watching YouTube on how can you comp in 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Looking up all the Zestimate, the real estimate, whatever the estimate called for Redfin, and then for homes. Use all of that, average it out, then do the 70% of that average. Oh my gosh, so many different things. And guess what? My deal still didn't make it to the finish line because I was still overpriced. And I'm like, I'm negotiating to get to that number. So why am I not? Until it hit one day where we sold a property, or I locked up a property, and my business partner said, Caesar, you locked it up at 120. That should be like at $80,000. And I said, why? So they gave me the explanation, like, it's a manufactured home. It's not even a real home. So, okay, well, I guess that makes sense. But then I gave them my reasoning why. All right. I was like, look at all the ARVs here. Look at all this property. This is a manufactured home. This is not a real home. It's sold for 150, 160 or whatever. Or sorry, not 250, 260. At the end of the day, everyone said no to me. When I met everyone, meant my business partners. And it took us 2.5 days, and we assigned it and ended up getting a $19,100 assignment fee on it. And that was a learning moment for us. That was one key moment in our business. And once when we realized there is a buyer for every deal. Okay, I just want to repeat that. There is a buyer for every deal. Now it's just a matter of finding that buyer and how do you market to that buyer. And that, my friend, that's what we didn't know. And so when we got a hold of the profit calculator, and now it's calculated differently. Now it's calculating it from the end buyer's point of view, which, by the way, whenever I went to meetups, all the investors will always tell me the same thing. Well, what about the closing costs? What about the holding costs? What about this? What about the points for my hard money lender? So I'm like, oh my gosh, all I know is 70% is way too much, too complicated. Well, once again, RJ Titanium had simplified this for you guys, right? For us. So that profit calculator not only got our MAO closer to a point where it's going to hit the finish line, but it also opened our eyes. Now we're able to see who is our audience for this particular deal. Is this a flip deal? Is this a buy and hold deal? Is this a bird deal? Right? It showed us that. It showed us who our buyer is, and now we know how to market it, right? If it's a buy and hold deal, we're not going to post it on Facebook or Investor Lift or whatever platform as a fix and flip deal. This is a buy and hold deal. So in that way, it gets to in front of the buyers, the right buyers quicker. Okay. So that was very, very important for us. So I just wanted to bring that up. Once again, I'm not going to go over the profit calculator today. I've had multiple videos. My one call closes. You can see how I comp deals. And once again, day 5 comping with Cassie. You can take a look at that. That might have been day 6, not 100%. Day 6, yeah. As far as contracts go, guys, 2 pages. The simplest contracts I've ever seen. All right, we're not using the Trek or any other 10-page contracts out there. It's 2 pages. Very simple. And guess what? I've sent it to attorneys and I've sent it to realtors. None of them had come back to me going, what the heck is this shit? On the contrary, they've come back going, dude, it's pretty straightforward. This is great. Made my life so much easier. Sign, done. Right? I've used this contract for $1.5 million deals, $1.7 million deals, and also a $5 million deal. Okay? And all of those went through their real estate attorney before they signed it, and their realtors. So their contracts, just that alone is worth that $99, how much it is now. Okay? And by the way, it's not just a purchase sale contract that they have on there. I believe they have all the other contracts on there. So the amendment contract, the assignment contract, termination contract, JV partnership, and so forth. Okay. Now I've never really bought that because I just went straight to titanium. So don't quote me on that one. It might be just one contract or not. Anyone that's watching, if you guys have paid for it, can you drop it on the chat if it includes all of it? All right, so now we have everything on the seller side, right? Where do I find the sellers? How do I talk to them? How do I make sure I'm making the correct offer? And what contracts do I use? Taken care of. Okay. By the way, guys, these took me days. Remember, it took me 14 days to consume content. This is literally what I had on the left side, and on the right side. Every day I would write things down as I come across videos. And so I'm giving it all to you guys within 1 hour, 2 hours of this. Okay. The next one is, where do I find buyers? This is important. Well, if you're in your market, in your neighborhood, then go to meetups. You'll find buyers there. Okay. Look at those commercials that you see on TV. John buys houses. Look at the signs that you see by the freeways. We buy houses. We pay cash. Jot those down. Give them a call. Just be like, hey, man, I'm a wholesaler. I'd love to send you deals. Just want to introduce myself. Great. Hey, what do you look for? Those are your buyers, right? Download the app Meetups. Is it Meetup or Meetups? Whatever. This will, and then just type in real estate investing. These are meetups that's free for you to go to. And guys, people always say, oh man, but I don't know anything. I'm so afraid to go. If you have that frame of mind where you feel like you need to know something to go, then yes, you're going to be afraid. So I'm going to get rid of that fear. Go there and say, I know nothing. Guys, I'm new in the industry. I need help. But what I have is time and grit and passion. If you go in there with that attitude, saying those words, so many of those investors will be like, bro, we're here to help. What do you need? You'll be surprised on how much opportunity opens up once you're fully transparent on where you are in your journey, because successful people always want to help hungry people. Okay? Successful people always want to help hungry people. But you also got to give, you got to give something back. So what is your value? For me, time, because I don't have a 9-to-5 job anymore, right? So I have time and I have grit. Hey man, I want to learn. You want me to cold call for you? I'll cold call for you. You don't have to pay me anything. I just want a small commission for the things that I lock up for you. I don't care if you pay me 1%. But only thing I ask is for knowledge and experience. So if you're on a call, I want to be part of it. And if I'm not part of it, can you record it for me so I can listen to it? That's all I ask for. If I'm cold calling for you and you're not providing me any value, guess what? I'm going to cold call for someone else. I'm not an idiot. I know nothing about the industry, and I'm willing to work for free to learn in exchange for that knowledge. Okay? So everyone knew who I was. They're like, gosh, this guy is hungry. Guess what? I got help. Okay? So I want to quickly go over that. So where do I find buyers? Now, I do things virtually. So Facebook groups, Investor Lift, MLS, and you can also do JV. Okay. Investor Lift is a platform, so it's like Zillow, but for investors. MLS is on the market, so we're looking at Zillow, Homes.com, Redfin, Realtor, right? You'll find buyers there all the time. How do you find buyers? You can look at a place, it says 1925, a house that was built in the 1920s, 1980s, but it looks like it's 2024. Well, that place just got remodeled. If that place just got remodeled, then most likely the owner of that house right now is a flipper. So if that's a flipper, then that's your buyer. I would call, right? If it's a for sale by owner, I would call that owner, be like, yo, man, did you flip this property? Yeah. Oh, man, I'm a wholesaler. I'd love to get you your next deal. Okay. If it's a realtor, call the realtor. Just like, hey, I noticed this is a flip deal. I'm a wholesaler. I don't want to waste your time, but hey, man, I want to give your seller more deals so that you have more listings to list. You think you can connect me to your seller? What do you think that agent is going to say? No, I don't want you to give him more deals so that I can list them once after he fixes it. Right. So there's different ways of going about it. But once again, you learn all of this by joining groups, going to meetups. Ideas flow in the air, and you want to be able to be there and capture that. So how do I talk to buyers? What did I put on here? Oh, I put the calculator again. Why? When it comes to buyers, there's really no emotions. Now it's all about numbers. Once you know what your numbers are, then you can talk to buyers. Hey, Mr. Buyer, great. Well, by the way, where did you clock in your ARV at? Oh, okay, you put it at 350. Cool, man. I actually have it at 345. So we're pretty much there. Okay, great. All right. Well, where are you clocking in your rehab? Oh, 45. Okay, great. Hey, man, if you don't mind me asking, like, what's with the 45? Like, what do you need to fix? Ask these guys these questions, right? Punch it in the calculator. And then you go, bro, I'm selling this at 250. You want it 220. So you want me to sell this to you at 220 so that you can have $100,000 profit? I punch in your numbers. Come on, man. Let's work together here. You want to close? You want to make a deal or what? Let's make a deal. Okay. Obviously, it's more than that, but that's like the simplest form that I can talk about here. Howdy log. JV, you split 50-50. That too much or no? That's actually perfect. Some of you may disagree with me. I feel like Dispo might actually need to get a little bit more than the acquisition. Okay. And for the longest time, I didn't understand that because I always say, hey, dude, if I don't acquire the deal, you don't have the deal. Fair enough. But here's the deal, man. The Dispo side is a lot harder than the acquisition side, especially if you're not good at underwriting. Because here's the deal that what's going to happen with that. We go to work, we Dispo the deal, right? We Dispo the deal, and then the deal comes back and go, let's say the asking price is 250. Everyone's coming at 235. Then now, Howdy, I now have to rely on you to go back to that seller to be able to renegotiate. And if you cannot renegotiate that, I have no control over it because I'm not direct to seller. I'm direct to you, right? So we did all that legwork. We cold called 200 buyers, however many, sent so many text messages, emails, so forth and so forth and so forth. And then now the deal hangs on your ability to renegotiate. Bro, it's tough. Now, if you can show that you can renegotiate, then yeah, 50-50 all day long because you're going to have to do more work. So yeah, 50-50 is good. And so, yeah, so if it's a good deal, then yes, 50-50 is a good way to go about it. You also said that acquisition pays for marketing. You're 100% correct. So is Dispo. Because we pay for Investor Lift. Investor Lift, we pay $6,000 a month. That's $72,000 a year that you guys don't see. That's huge. So Dispo does pay for marketing as well, just FYI. So I think 50-50 is great. It really just depends on how much work you do, you know? So I have people that I've JV'd with. I know they have the ability to renegotiate, and they've proven that they know how to comp. So I trust them. I will still underwrite it though, and I'll push back a little bit, and I want to hear their reasoning why they are where they are. And if they can renegotiate, then yeah, I'll take that JV deal 50-50. That being said, a lot of people that's new, the way we like to do is we have you guys assign it to us at a certain price point, and then we attach our fee on top of it, right? So, and once again, I'll be transparent with you guys. Go, hey, this thing moves at 90. We just need a $10,000 fee. We need you to assign it to us at 80. So go back to your seller. If you negotiate at 65, then you negotiate at 65. You already assigned it to us at 80. So now you have $15,000 fee. We have a $10,000 fee. I'd rather do that, because then if you don't know how to renegotiate, then I don't want to waste time on it. You know what I mean? Because we've come across that too, where we do 50-50 and then we spend so much time, and then the wholesaler couldn't negotiate, and then in the deal shot. All right, so kind of went off tracks there. What contract do I use for the buyers? Once again, it's part of that deal. So you have all of that with that link. Okay, so that is my activity product knowledge. Okay. There is another part of activity knowledge, which I will talk towards the end. Now, the next part is the know-how. Before I start, by the way, guys, do you have any other questions? Anything that I said that perhaps doesn't make sense? Is this making sense? Do you feel like this is valuable? If you feel like this is valuable and you're learning things, put a 1 on the chat. If you feel like, this is nonsense, that's okay too. And if there's anything that you want me to go over as far as creating a business plan, let me know, man. Drop it on the chat here. Sweet. Thanks, Manny. Appreciate it. Let me just quickly scroll through the chat just to see if there's any questions that I missed here. I don't think I missed any questions so far. By the way, guys, I don't know if Terry's on. Terry, are you on by any chance? I hope you are. There's no way I could have done all of this without my friend Terry. Terry's the one that's been putting together my thumbnail. She's the one that put together my banner. She's the one that's actually really making my YouTube channel a YouTube channel. So all the gratitude to my friend Terry, who's been helping me, who's really been behind the scenes on putting all this together. So Terry, if you're watching, hope you are. Just giving you kudos. Cool. All right. The know-how. This is very, very important. Okay. Why do you guys think I only gave myself 14 days to learn, and why November 15 was very, very important for me to pick up the phone and dial no matter what? Why do you guys think that is? I'll give you guys a quick sec to drop in your answer on there. The reason that is, guys, is because of this second key ingredient for success, which is the know-how, which will come with what? With experience. All right. There's a difference between knowing what to sell and how to sell it versus knowing how to sell it, right? And I use the word sell, but you can be anything. There's a difference between knowing how to ride a bike and knowing how to ride the bike, right? It's the same thing, okay? So know-how only happens through what? Through experience. Guys, experience, content consumption, and surrounding yourself with the right people. It's literally what I wrote down. Okay, so content consumption, I gave myself 14 days. That's it. Experience, bro, 15th day, it's showtime for me. Come hell or high water, I'm picking up that phone and I'm not looking back. Okay, so it's really, really important to get it out of the way as soon as possible. And then lastly, surrounding yourself with the right people. I cannot stress this enough. It was very, very important for you to go to meetups, introduce yourself to other people who are in your situation or who have been in your situation who are successful now, right? For the longest time, I've always been kind of like the under the radar guy. I don't really like to boast about my successes, so forth and so forth. I like to just fly under the radar and let my actions do the talking. Okay. And one of my friends, Michael Magenheimer, good old Mags. I don't know if you're watching, bro, if you watch this, but Mags told me when I was having coffee with him, like, be loud about it. Be loud about what you're doing. I was like, bro, like, I don't even know if I'm going to be successful. He's like, then what the heck are you doing this for if you don't even know, right? I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm Caesar. I'm a beast. Like, I'm going to be successful. So it's like, be loud about it. It goes, because you want the right people to know what you're doing and to see that you're hungry for it. So in that way, you can get the proper help that you need, right, to speed up your learning process. So be loud about it. Go to those meetups, tell people you know nothing and you just want to learn. And you're going to get that know-how so quick. Okay. So experience, content consumption, and surrounding yourself with the right people. Okay. All right. So I get that. So now here's my game plan. So now I know where to find my sellers, where to find my buyers. I know how to call. I've consumed all the content that I can. Now it's time for me to put everything into action, right? 15th day, pick up the phone. I've got my script. Hey, are you looking to sell? Great. How much are you looking to get for it? Tell me what you got going on. Right? So you got all of that. So then now, how can I determine whether I'm improving or not, right? Because Denzel said it best. Don't confuse, what did he say? Don't confuse movement with progress. Just because you're moving a lot doesn't mean you're progressing. So what are the KPIs? Someone asked me this on day 1 or day 2. No, it was day 3, I believe, when I had other folks on the call with me. And J-Dub and I answered, the only KPI that matters is what goes into my bank account. 100% true. Okay. That being said, wherever I go, my 3 main KPIs is dials, reach, and set. How many times did I pick up the phone? How many people did I reach? And how many appointments did I set? That's from all of my sales jobs before, right? Now, in this industry, it's a little different. So I'm breaking down for you guys. How many dials did I make? How many people did I reach? And when I say reach, I don't mean or their mom or their tenant. How many times did I talk and reach the seller, the person that I want to talk to? Okay, so dials made, dials reached, offer made. How many times did I make an offer? How many times did I send the contract? Well, I think my Wi-Fi was a little. Contract sent and signed should be identical, pretty close to identical. If I sent out 10 contracts, I should have 8 contracts signed. Okay. And I'm going to say this now because I tried both ways. I don't know which way works and which way doesn't. I'll tell you what doesn't work. Hey, Mr. Seller, great. I'm going to go ahead and send that contract over to you. Go read it, review it, sign it. When do you think you're going to be able to sign it? Tomorrow. Okay, great. I'm going to put an expiration on it by tomorrow. If it's not signed, then it's expired. Cool. Does that work? Yes, but your conversion ratio is going to be low. Okay, especially if you're starting. If you're starting in the beginning where your skill level is not that high yet, man, you're going to send out a lot of contracts and you're not going to get anything signed. Okay, because a lot of things are going to happen in between. As soon as you hang up, guess what? I'm going to call that person. And then I'm going to try to get him under contract. Okay, so while you're on the phone, get them to sign the contract on the phone. I don't really want to go to detail about this. I believe I've already made a short video about it. One of my one call close, actually a lot of my one call close videos show exactly how I do this. Okay, but very briefly, how I do it is while I'm comping, let's say I'm already done with comping, guys, I'll ask another question or two just so that I can open up the contract and start filling out the contract. And by the way, I'm going to take a step back there. When I open all my windows every morning, DocuSign is always open. And when I'm on the phone with someone, it's already open. The contract itself. I don't even know their email address. Guess what? His name is Gary. I'm going to put gary@gmail.com for now. I'm going to go to the meat of the contract. Why? While you're comping, you're on PropStream, you're finding the legal description anyway. So you already have the legal description on there. You might as well copy and paste it, right? You already have the address. What's one more copy and paste? Right? A lot of the information that you have that you're looking at while you're comping, you're going to put on the contract. So while I'm comping, I'm filling it out little by little. But now you're going to go, guys, Caesar, I'm already overwhelmed with comping. I get it, bro. So you don't necessarily have to fill it out right away. But towards the end, if you're already done with comping and the guy's still talking, let him talk. You guys probably have seen me in videos before. I was like, Caesar, why don't you stop this guy? I'm not stopping him because I'm filling out the contract. Because once the contract is done and now you're closing and you guys agree on a price, all you have to do is put in the price that you agree on and then you ask them for the email address. So you go back, put in the email address, hit send. By the way, Doc, you're already on the phone with me. If you don't mind, I just sent over the agreement. Let's quickly go over that so that way you know what you're signing. Let me go from top to bottom. I just want to make sure you're comfortable and confident with what you're signing, what you're getting yourself into. Does that make sense? I literally asked that. Or is that fair enough? What are they going to say? No? Right? Because now that shows that you care. And then now it's an easier transition. It's not like, oh, hold on for a second. Let me fill out that contract. Now you guys have also heard me say that before too. You've also heard me close. And then once I close, I go, hey, man, since you're already on the phone, do you mind if I quickly go over this contract with you? Okay, cool, man. It's only going to take me 30 seconds to maybe a minute and a half to fill this out. Why? Because I already have it halfway filled out. All right. But at the end of the day, if you make it as seamless as possible, you're going to get into that contract all the time. Okay. But if you don't have that set up, now you're going to have to open DocuSign. Now you're going to have to log in. Now you're going to have to do all these. Now you're going to have to pick the template. Man, now those things add up and now it's going to take too long. So key idea here, guys, have the DocuSign open. Why? Because I am conditioning my mind that every call is a closed deal. Does that mean every call is going to be a closed deal? No. But because that DocuSign is flashing the corner of my eye, I'm going, dude, I got to close something. I haven't filled anything out yet. I got to close something. So it's just going to make you think more about closing the deal. Okay. So that's just another little hack that you can do to help increase your closing ratio as well. Oh, Dimitri. Hey, yeah, it was you that asked about the KPIs. Cool, man. Manny, love this. For some reason, I thought it was automated. What did you think was automated? The agreement? Yeah, you still got to fill it out. Obviously, when you upload it onto DocuSign, you can upload the template, so you already have the boxes. You can easily fill it out. All right, cool. So I think I kind of did that quite a bit. So contract sent, contract signed. How many of those are assigned? Because that's huge. How many of those make it to the finish line, meaning they're close and funded when actually money hits your bank account? And then know your cost per lead and cost per contract. For me, if you're starting, this is what I would focus on. The first 5. Because as an acquisition, that's what you care about. You care about how many dials you make, how many people you reach, how many offers you make, how many contracts you send, and how many contracts are signed. The other side, that's the dispo side, right? So pay attention to these, and then the others, I will start. Like, these doesn't happen until this happens, right? So top 5. Now I'm going to explain to you why these top 5 are very, very important. And once again, guys, excuse my, I'm still a little sick, so I'm going to breathe for a moment here. And I'm going to come right back. I'm going to grab me some water, so I'll be right back. By the way, while I'm away, drop some questions. Put out a thumb up if you're liking this, thumb down if you're not. Let me know if you're excited for me to get back on live seller calls. I appreciate that. Just give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? I put on my AirPods here, so I just want to make sure you guys hear me loud and clear before I start rambling on. Give me a thumb up if you guys can hear me. Cool. I'm seeing some thumbs up earlier when I went away. Thanks, Manny, Gaetano. Awesome, bro. Manny, I love the morning live seller calls too, bro. I miss it. By the way, the last 2 days, guess what? It's all about actions, baby. So back to the live seller calls. Thanks, Manny. Appreciate it. Okay, so it sounds like you guys can hear me. So where am I at? Okay, so here's what's important, guys. Everyone talks about KPIs, but no one really explains the importance of KPIs. For me, it's all about levers, right? Levers. Which lever I can pull so that I can get the most amount of output, right? And I want to know what those are. So in that way, I'm always improving, progressing, okay? So I'm going to connect the dots for you guys. Why is it important for me to know how many dials I make? Well, because you can see how many dials you make for every contract signed, right? But here's another thing too. What if you make 100 dials, but you only reach 2 people? Well, that tells me I have a shitty list, right? All my phone numbers are incorrect. That's why I didn't like the skip tracing part, because I would dial so many and I would only reach 2 people. Hated it. So I went to FSBOs. Guess what? Now I made 100 dials. I talked to 40 people. Oh, okay. That makes much better, right? Or 10 people, whatever the number is, right? So you got to look at the connections between the two. So if I'm dialing a bunch in the morning and I'm not reaching anyone, well, maybe tomorrow I'll call 2 hours later, or I'll call in the afternoon, right? So you got to change that up to see, right? Move things around. Now, let's assume for a second you're reaching a lot of people, right? Let's say you reach 10 people. You talk to 10 people, but you only made 1 offer. Well, what's the lever there, right? What does that mean? That means that you need to practice on your skills to get to the part where you're making that offer, right? So by knowing those things, so I'm connecting the dots for you guys. So if you guys, well, obviously it's recorded, so you guys can go back to this. But if you can write it down, this is very important. If you're talking to a bunch of people, but you're not making any offers, then you need to work on the 5-step formula, right? And if you don't know what to work on, record it. Dude, feel free to send it to me. Feel free to hop on my live and make a live call with me, or play your recorded call, and we can analyze it together. Be more than happy to do that for you guys. All right. So then now what if, oh man, I made 5 offers, but I didn't send out any contracts? Why not? Right? So there's a connection there, right? So that means you're making the offer, but you're not asking for the close. So what you're probably not asking, right? So let's say that happened to you guys. You guys are making a lot of offers, but you're not locking up any deals, right? Then that means you're not asking, hey, if we agree on a price today, are you willing and able to move forward today? You're not asking that question. That means you don't know if they're willing and able to move this deal today. Hey, how quickly do you want to get this done? If we agree on a price, can you move forward with the agreement today? That simple question is going to change that KPI right away. Okay. Now you're getting a lot of contracts sent, but there's no contract signed. Hey guys, this is what happened to me. Because I started following RJ Bates. I was like, yeah. All right, cool. We agreed. I'll send the contract over. Bro, my conversion rate just tanked right away, right? It's not a knock on RJ in any way, shape, or form, because he's got a team. What we don't see is when he says that, his teammates, people that are working for him, will probably get on the phone, send that contract over, and go over that contract with him. We don't see that. You don't have staff. You don't have employees. So there's no reason for you to say, I'm going to send that contract over. You should be on the phone getting over that contract, right? So you do that, then now your contract sent and contract signed will increase. Does that make sense, guys? So KPIs are good if you understand the connections between the two. In other words, you know which lever to pull. All right, what's next here? How to create time. Oh man, this is huge. I get people asking me this all the time. Caesar, I've got 3 kids. I work 9 to 5. You know, I leave the house by 9 or by 8 to get by 8:30 to get in my work at 9. I come home at 5. By the time I take care of the kids, I'm done at 6:30, 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30. I don't have any time. Well, what about the weekends? Right? And this is, well, actually, let me ask you guys. Any of you guys feel this way? Or come across someone who feel this way? Where you just don't have enough time? Howdy. Whew. 12 hours a day, man. This is your business though, right? If I'm not mistaken. Where do you live, Howdy? Or if you don't want to say what state, just put, are you Pacific time, Central time, or Eastern time? So guys, I get this question all the time, like, I don't have time, right? And so this is where the power of doing things virtually. People always tell me, well, I don't have enough time. And so then my next question is, well, what's your market? Like my backyard. Oh, well, that's why you don't have time. You just told me you're done by 7:30. So you literally have an hour to make calls if you're not tired. And in the morning, you can't even make calls because everyone's asleep. People that you're going to be calling. Right? So Audi, 7 to 7, man. I know that's a lot of hours. It's 12 hours. But right now, Okay, I tell you that you actually have till you have about 4 to 4.5 hours that you can do every day. Doesn't mean you have the energy to do it, but I'm just saying as far as time-wise go, okay? Don't shoot my head off here. Don't shoot my head off. But you have about 4.5 hours of calling time. 4.5 hours maximum is what I would say. What I mean by that, guys, is let's use Audi as an example. He's right. He's doing East and Central time. Okay. I would do that too, but I would probably go. Well, Audi, how do you attack that East and Central time? So while Audi's typing that in, here's how I did it, guys. And for some of you, you probably heard me say this multiple times. I'm in California. Okay. So I've got a little bit of a luxury here because when I first started, I started making phone calls at 5:15 in the morning, California time. By the way, you guys see me do that anyway, till this day when I do my live seller calls, right? Why do I start 5:15? Because it is 8:15 a.m. in Florida. Okay? So when I first started, I did not want to touch California. Okay? My first market was Florida. Why? Because at 5:15 in the morning, it is 8:15 in Florida. Okay, people go to work. All right? So then I'll call from 5:15 a.m. or 5 a.m. till 6 a.m. because that's 8 to 9. That's all of my Florida. As soon as 6 o'clock hits, guess who I'm calling? Texas. Why? It is now 8 o'clock in Texas. Now I'm calling all the homeowners before they go to work. So from 5 to 6, I call Florida. 6 to 7, I call Texas. Right? And then 7 to 8, I just literally work my way towards the West Coast. By 10 o'clock, I'm done calling. I didn't like calling California. Well, I tried in the beginning until I realized it was really tough in California, so I got away from it. But the point that I'm saying is I moved from east to west, right? I used the time zones as my friend. And then what I did was by 10 o'clock, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., that was more of my consumption time. That's for me to grow personally and professionally, whether that's working out, going to meetups, maybe an investor that I met on a Saturday meetup, I asked him for a cup of coffee or for a Zoom call. 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. was for me, for my own personal growth. And then at 2 p.m., guess who I'm calling again? Florida. Why? Because now it's 5 p.m. over there. People are home from work. So from 2 to 3, Florida. 3 to 4, Texas. 4 to 5, Colorado. And so forth and so forth. So I'm literally making from 5 a.m. till 10 a.m. making phone calls, and then from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. making phone calls again. Guys, I was making calls, 10, 12 hours a day. And the reason why I thought of that is because I wanted to outwork everyone that's starting with me, and I also want to decrease my learning curve, right? I want to speed that up. And the only way to speed that up is to have as many repetitions as possible. So that's how I did it. So on Audi's turn, if you're home at 7, I would call who? I would call all your Eastern markets, right? Because you can still call them from 7 to what? To 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m. For me, 8:30 is my latest. Sorry, not 8:30 a.m., 8:30 p.m. And then from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., I would call Texas, your central states, right? Because that would be 7:30, 8:30 your time. Then I would probably throw in, and maybe you don't want to because it's the West Coast, but there are still some good West Coast markets, right? Maybe throw in Colorado in there or Oregon. Those are your West Coast. You can call those guys all the way till what? Till 11:30 p.m. your time, because that's 8:30 p.m. over here. Now you just created a part-time job, 4.5 hours a day, growing your wholesaling real estate business. So that's how you can create more time for yourself by doing this virtually and attacking markets that's not your backyard. So I wanted to see if you guys have any questions on that, any remarks before I move forward. All right, cool. So then now, the last thing that I want to talk about, and once again, this is something that no one can really help you but yourself, right? You got to know your why, right? Inspiration to action. I can only inspire you, but I cannot motivate you, right? Only you can motivate yourself. So for me, whenever I start everything, I got to know my why first. And my why has to be stronger than any obstacle that I'm going to encounter. This is very, very important, man. If you're doing this just because you want to make more money, that's not a strong enough why. Unless you're money driven. But if you're money driven, it's probably because you want to do other things, whether that's to buy another house, buy cars, to have more vacations with your family, whatever it is. People always tell me, oh, I want to make money. Okay, great. But what can that money, that extra income do for you? That's what's important. Okay. So for you guys who've been following me, you know my why. For some of you that are new, that are watching this, that will be watching this, I mean, I lost my dad and my brother within 4 months of each other last year, and it opened my eyes losing people near me that I've done quite a bit in my life, but I don't have any legacy to leave behind for my stepdaughter and my nephews, my nieces, and any other family members, my loved ones that I have. And so it opened my eyes that, hey, I need to leave a legacy behind. And what better way to do that than real estate? And that's why I'm doing this, right? That's a pretty big why, man. Another reason why I'm doing this, because I've also been watching King Kong for a long time, but because I was comfortable with my current job making six figures, I didn't act on it. And I always told myself, man, this would be so cool. It'd be such a cool business for me and my younger brother. Right. And I've even sent him those videos, but I never followed through with it. So then now part of me is like, I can't lose because I'm doing this for my younger brother, right? Who I lost last year. So those are my why. And my why is pretty fucking big, right? That any obstacle, any hardship that I come across, it's nothing compared to my why. So guys, know your why. All right, this is what I'm trying to get at here. How do you just going to quit my job? Well, I mean, you can. I don't know if you want to, but you can. Have the discipline. This is some important, man, because we always say motivation will run out, but discipline doesn't. I think this is where a lot of people lose momentum. This is where they fail, is the discipline part. If you're not a disciplined person, create a discipline. Go for a walk. Start running. Start reading. Start knitting. I don't know, whatever it is. But you got to do something that takes you out of your comfort zone. That's going to require some energy, don't pick something that's just easy, right? Because then that's not discipline. You got to pick something that's a little bit more difficult, right? And you got to be disciplined about it. 2020, I know it did a lot for a lot of people, but for me, to help me physically, I got healthier because I had no more excuses, right? I was like, oh man, I'm too tired to go to the gym after work. Hey, dickhead. What are you talking about? There is no gym, right? Oh, I'm too lazy to get up in the morning because I got to drive still. Hey, dickhead, you have no commute. You're working from home. So no excuses at that point. What became my gym? The floor. Started doing push-ups. Started doing burpees. Till this day, I absolutely hate doing just regular 100 burpees. I can do 300 of them every day, which I do, and I still hate the first 20. But why do I do it? Because I hate the first 20. I'm going to let that sink in first. Why do I do the burpees? Because I hate the first 20. What do I mean by that? Calling might be something you don't like to do. Guess what? If you keep doing it, it's going to get easier. After the 20th burpee, man, my mindset changes. It clicks. It's on now. My muscles, my body is all in alignment with my mind. And now it's just like boom, 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 boom. If you don't like making phone calls, guess what? Make phone calls. The thing is, if you don't have any discipline anywhere in life, it's going to be difficult to be successful in something like this because you have to be disciplined to continue to pick up that phone, to continue to make touches and conversations to get that deal, right? So it's very, very important to create that discipline. For me, it's burpees because it's just a mindset for me. So I do it for the mindset to create calluses in my mind, like the way I create calluses in my hands. David Goggins, right? That's why I do it. The physical part, the health aspect of it is just icing on the cake. PMA. What is PMA, guys? Positive mental attitude. So it's really important for you guys to know what you're grateful for. I know you guys have heard this many times, whether it's a reel or the mental gurus. At the end of the day, man, it's really important to know what you're grateful for. Okay. Know your wins. I believe I don't know if one of my mentors told me this or might have heard it on as I was scrolling through YouTube. Some folks would literally make like you have that jar and you put like the corkscrews or your wine corkscrews, but not corkscrews, sorry, corks. So instead of collecting that, collect Post-it notes. And anytime you have a win, right? Like, let's say you couldn't pick up the phone today because it was so heavy, but tomorrow you pick up the phone, that's a win. Write that down. Write it down, put it in that jar, that fishbowl. Okay. When you come across someone and you couldn't overcome that objection, the next one you did, that's another one. Holy crap, I'm able to comp in 10 minutes now instead of 20 minutes. That's a win, right? I created a short video last week. I still remember December of last year, I was making cold calls. I looked at a property, I looked at a property, looked at the owner, and then I looked at how many properties this owner has. He has 30 properties. Oh my gosh, I couldn't pick up that phone. It took me 3 hours to pick up that phone. I literally skipped them and called everyone else and then went back and then skipped them again. Called other people, went back. I think the third time, that's when I finally picked up the phone. Never got a hold of the guy. Okay. But I was petrified because I knew nothing. And this guy is a well-seasoned investor. I was like, he's going to smell me right away. Bro, last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Last week or 2 weeks ago, did the same thing as an inbound lead, popped into the prop stream while I'm on the phone with her, looked at linked properties. This investor has 112 properties. Man, I was so excited about the opportunity, right? Because now I have 12 months of experience. I still know very little compared to this lady, okay? But I can hang. So for me, that's a win, right? You got to remember those things. And the shitty thing about the human mind is that we remember the negative things more than the positive things. So if you create a fishbowl where you put in all your small wins so that when you're down and you're getting your ass kicked, your teeth kicked in, people telling you no's, people telling you to kick rocks. Guess what? You have this fishbowl that you can go to, pick a random yellow note, post-it note, open it, and remind yourself that time when, whatever that win was. Okay. Be grateful. Small hack helps a lot, man. Only compete with yourself. Only compete with your yesterday self. Trust me, I'm guilty of this too, man. John Looney, if you're watching this, bro, many times I'm going, how did that guy lock up a $30,000 deal? How did that guy lock up a $50,000 deal? I haven't even done one yet. He just started it. I'm here in my 11th month. Bro, I was pissed, right? But I caught myself too because I need to compete with myself, right? I need to reach out to John to ask, what is he doing and how is he doing it so that I can get better. Okay. One last thing here, guys. Always do an honest self-inventory of yourself and your process, whether that's every week, every month, or every quarter. Whatever that make, for me, it was every week in the beginning. And as I got better, then it would be every month and then every quarter. Because that's how I know whether I'm improving or not. And guys, I always say positive mental attitude, it's not measured when things are going well. It's measured when things are going shitty. Right? Because that's when PMA really kicks in. If you have these things, guys, it is very, very difficult to fail in whatever you do. You know your why. That means everything else is just noise, right? Any obstacles that you come across, your mind through consistent action. Okay, I'm not just saying PMA all of a sudden, the solution is going to be there. Through consistent action, your mind will figure out a solution. Whether it's because through your consistent action or because you're what? You're surrounded yourself with other people in the industry that they're going to be able to help you get there. You got to have the discipline. If you're disciplined, everything else is just noise. It just bounces off of you. And PMA, if you have a very strong mindset and you stay positive and you're grateful for what you have, guys, it is very, very difficult to fail in anything. So I know that's quite a bit. So I always like to just knock it down to the simplest form, top 3. So when I first started, right, that was the thing, like what's the business about, right? So you already have that. I already gave it to you, right? What wholesaling is all about. How do you talk to sellers? Just follow RJ Bates. You can follow other people, but if you really want to do wholesaling, RJ Bates is the way to go. Or follow me because I'm just doing exactly what RJ Bates does. Okay. So my business plan would be exactly what I just wrote down on here, right? From knowing exactly what I'm selling, which in this case, I'm acquiring the products which in this case, the product is the contract. So that way I can sell that contract to an end buyer, which that would be assigning the contract instead of selling the contract, assigning the contract to an end buyer with an assignment fee attached to it. Okay. So it's my top 3. Know my why. For me, that's always top 3. Second thing is 3 key ingredients. And the last thing, guys, is actions. Just create immediate and perfect actions. Okay, just run. Ready, fire, aim. Who cares about making mistakes? Make a ton of mistakes. Okay. I do want to point out one last thing, by the way. People might ask, well, when do I need to start buying speed to lead, right? So here's the thing. If you're a solopreneur, you're in sales, you have a good size of capital, funds, then buy them as quickly as possible. Okay. But once again, I'm talking to the people who are 9 to 5, perhaps don't have that much savings, or they do, but it's for something else, or this is something different. where you're on a very tight budget, here's what I would do. I would say I would start with FSBOs using closer's formula. How many of those? Until you no longer have to think about what you need to say next. Right? Simple as that. Don't look at those as I'm going to make money. Look at those as I'm getting my reps in so that when I buy my leads, I am ready to rock and roll. Okay. Once you start buying leads, RJ had put up a video. I'll probably link it on here, which is 0 to 1 million. Which what he's saying is 20 to 25 leads per contract. And I 100% agree with him on here. What he's doing is he's giving you enough runways to make enough mistakes, right? It doesn't matter how bad you are. If you have 20 to 25 leads, you are most likely going to sign up one contract. As you get better, then you'll get, one lead for every 10 to 12 contracts. That's what I'm doing right now. So if you have, let's say, $6,000 of capital, just work the numbers backwards. Okay, $6,000. And let's say that's all you have, right? Well, I'm not going to buy $6,000 worth of leads right now where I have no experience. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to use this to buy leads, right? So I would go speed to lead. I would pay the $89 for the $89 a month, which is for the premium. Which what this does is that it allows you to see all the information you need to see about the lead for you to determine whether it's a good lead or not. So it's going to show you if it's vacant or if it's tenant occupied or owner occupied. It's going to show you what type of rehab that needs to be done. How long have they owned the property and so forth and so forth. For me, this is very important because then now this is when you get to pick and choose which lead you want. The other thing that you got to do is $200 per month, which is for the coupon club. Coupon club automatically gets all sale leads at $29 a month. $29 per lead. Guys, if I have very limited amount of capital, those are the two that I would use. I would just put it on. I wouldn't care about CRM. Who gives a shit? You don't have enough deals. You don't need CRM. You have Google Sheets and you have your phone. You're good to go. You have Google Voice. Okay, so CRM, throw that out the window until you start buying leads. Then you want to have a CRM because then it will automatically go to your CRM, and now you can do a text blast, so forth and so forth. Okay, but until then, just buy the leads, put it on Google Sheets and so forth. Comping tools. I believe PropStream. What did RJ say? PropStream. We have PropStream, but I don't even know how much we paid for it. $97 a month. Yeah, I would say probably buy that because it'll allow you to comp and analyze. If you don't want to do that, then use homes.com, which is free. It gives you sold prices even in non-disclosure states. That's why I like to use homes.com. But hey, for $97 a month, maybe give them a call and see if you can get a 30-day free trial or a 2-week free trial. Oh, one thing I will always say too, by the way, guys, please do not pay for any software upfront for a whole year. Because the thing about it is you don't know if you're going to like their interface. What if you don't like it? What if it breaks all the time? What if it's too difficult for you to understand? You don't want to be stuck for a whole year. So just buy it for a month, even though it's a little bit more expensive. Pay for it monthly, maybe pay for it for a couple of months. You get used to it. You're like, okay, then I can go into an annual. Okay. So there you go. PropStream. So that's $289. So that's what? That's $400. So $400 for comps and that. So that leaves you with $5,600. Okay. Now, here's one thing I will tell you guys. Do not buy $5,600 worth of leads all at the same time. Okay. Here's another key takeaway. Before I go there, I got to blow my nose, guys. So excuse me for 1 second. Drop any comments, any questions in the chat, by the way. All right, guys, we're almost done here. So do not, if you have $5,600, do not buy $5,600 worth of leads, because that's going to be way too many leads for you to manage, especially if you don't have a CRM and you haven't done a deal from soup to nuts. Or if you have, maybe you've only done one and you've JV'd it with someone, right? You're going to see right away, once you start locking up deals, there's a lot that needs to be done in between. So do not buy $5,600 worth of leads. Maybe buy $300 worth of leads at a time. That's 10 leads. For this week, I'm going to buy 10 leads. That's $300. Boom. You run through that multiple times, and then you buy another 10. You buy another 10. So break this apart. Break this into small chunks, okay? So that it's manageable. Okay, so $300 a pop, that gets you what? 10 leads. If you can handle 10 leads, then maybe do 450 next time, or 600. Now you have 20 leads. Trust me, guys, 10 leads seems like it's nothing, and yeah, it is nothing until you start reaching all of these guys and you're actually talking to them, and now you have to underwrite it, and now you got to go through title. There's so many things that has to happen. So break it up into small chunks. Like they always say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. All right. So so this is exactly what I wanted to go over today, because I think it's very important to understand this in layman terms. And I think a lot of people, or I should say the other way around, not really that many people have broken it down. At least I haven't seen it. And I'm sure there are some people that have broken it down, but this is exactly how I do it whenever, I start a business or I start a new job. I always break it down to these three things. What's my activity, product knowledge? How do I get that? What's my know-how? And what's my inspiration to action? So I know this is the third thing here, but really this is biggest foundation, right? So I always start with, what's my why? How do I make sure I have discipline? What am I grateful for? And from there, attack. You just attack everything. It's all about actions. So guys, it's about a minute and 48 minutes. Sorry, an hour and 48 minutes here. So, Audi, you said, can you scroll down? Sorry about that, brother. I think, probably here is where you want to go. Let's see here. How much should I spend my first week? 750 or 1500? Can you scroll down? How much can you handle, bro? I would probably start with buy 10 leads for now. So 300. That's what I would do. Now you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, no one picked up. It's taking a while. But yeah, bro, because you're gonna have to follow up. You're gonna have to text them, call them, text them, call them, text them, call them. Right? When a lead comes in, I reach out to them at least 10 times in one day. That's between text message, email, and phone calls. And you got to do that. So if you can handle 20, then do 20. But I would start off with 10, see how that goes in a couple of days. Then you go, okay, I can buy 10 more, and then do that. Am I closing one for 20 or less or more? I'm closing about one per, I'd say anywhere from 8 to 12. I'm closing a contract. but that's because I also have a lot of repetition, man. So look at it as, one every 20, 25 leads for now. And that's a very conservative way to look at it, which is good, because if you start closing less than that, then you're a happy camper, right? But if you look at it and go, hey, I want to be like Caesar and close one every 12, every 10, every 8, and then you don't, then you're going to be pissed off and you're going to lose momentum, you're going to lose morale. So be conservative, one every 20 to 25, and then you do better than that, then you're a rock star. What is that? That one for 20 contract? I don't understand your question. It's one contract per 20 to 25 leads. RJ says 25. That's the pretty conservative way of looking at it. I say 20. So yeah, let's be conservative. 25. For every 25 leads, you should be able to lock up one contract. What I'm doing right now is I'm doing anywhere from 1 for every 8 to 12. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any other questions, anything that you want to see, you have a mentorship, Audi, it's a great question. Hey, bro, I'm here to just help people out. So if you want me to mentor you or get ideas for me, hit me up. Which I think you've hit me up already on Facebook or Instagram. I already have a couple of people calling me from time to time about their deals. Feel free to hit me up anytime, man. I'm here to help. Will I have a mentorship at some point? Probably. I mean, it would be foolish for me not to, especially if I have something to provide. But right now, like I said, man, I'm a wholesaler trying to provide value for other wholesalers that are in my position or newer than me. At some point, I might turn into a business. But right now, I just want to provide value and help as many people as I can. So yeah, feel free to reach out anytime. Be more than happy to help any way that I can. All right, guys. Good news, by the way. So I have 3 more days left. Thanks, Manny. Appreciate it. So day 10, 11, and 12. So day 10 and 11, I'm going to do tomorrow. And I'm doing that because I skipped Sunday. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to do live seller calls. So it's going to be action. So that's getting like day 10. Day 11 would be tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to have Prime Corp Services, who I use for my entity creations. You don't necessarily have to use them. I like using them for my own reasons, which I'll have them on tomorrow to do a demo, show you guys how they can be of service to you guys. And I'll tell you guys, why I like them, why I use them. But there are also other services that you can use. But I can't talk about all the other services because I've never used them. I can only talk about the ones that I've used so far. So day 10 is tomorrow morning, which is live seller calls. If any of you guys have leads or if you guys want to try calling out FSBOs, feel free to hop on live with me. Just let me know. I can always send you my StreamYard link. Day 11 will be tomorrow afternoon, which is entity creation, creating your LLC. And then Friday, day 12, another action taking day. We're just going to bang the phones, call sellers, and lock up some deals, man. I need some deals for January. I'm dying here. I'm getting dried up. How many creative deals have I done? 0. I've wrote up 3 contracts. None of them went through. One of them went through, but turned into a cash deal last second. So it started as a seller finance deal, turned into a cash deal towards the end. And that's why I did yesterday. I brought some guys who does creative deals. Brandon does a lot of creative deals. I've tried it. That was one of my mistakes, guys, and I'll leave it with this. I got introduced to the Sub 2 community, Pace Morby, and all that. By the way, good community. They have a lot of value. There's definitely a room for creative financing. But the issue that I had with it, well, not the issue, but what went wrong with me was that their tagline is, hey, I don't have to lowball the seller. I can meet the seller at their number as long as they give me favorable terms. So guess what I started doing? I started using it as a crutch because I was too afraid to negotiate. And so now every phone call is like, hey, Mr. Seller, okay, I need to be at 150. You're at 300. Okay, well, he says no to 150. Guess what? I tuck my tail between my legs. Oh, well, I can meet you at your price if you give me favorable terms. Bro, I went for like a month and a half without closing a deal. Why? Because I made it far more complicated. Keep it as simple as possible, guys. So I'm not saying anything wrong about creative financing, but don't use it as a crutch. Just because you get a no from a seller doesn't mean you go straight into creative financing and then it's a deal all of a sudden. No. Some guys might disagree with that, and that's fine. I know John Motzenbacher, he was on yesterday. He'll disagree with me, but because he's good. He's so freaking good, right? He knows it. So yeah, he can go as soon as he hears a no, he transitions to it. But if your skill level is not at his skill level, bro, you're gonna lose a lot more than you're gonna win. So I just wanted to bring that up, and that's why I absolutely just fell in love with what RJ and Cassie has done because they've simplified it for me. And now I go, okay, I got to stick to it. I got to master this. Once I've mastered it, then I'm going to graduate to the PhD, right? Which is creative financing. Go to my master's innovation, PhD, creative financing, so forth and so forth. So just know where you are, and don't use the other exit. Well, creative financing is not an exit strategy. Neither is Novation, but don't use those as crutches, right? They are options for you. So either you know how to explain it well enough, navigate it, or if you don't, bring people who know how to do them, right? So the other day I had a Novation day. I had Brad and his team. That's all they do is Novation. I know Jesse Elby in Titanium. All he does is Novation. Kelly Sandoval and Jeffrey Vickers. That's all they do is Novation. Guess what? When I come across a Novation deal, I go to those guys, right? I've sent some to Kelly. I've sent some to Brad. Haven't sent to Jesse yet. So Jesse, if you're listening, I'll send one your way one of these days. We're going to do a deal together. And then for creative financing, I send it to the guys that know creative financing. So that way I can spend my time and energy on the cash deals and still get paid on the innovation and creative deals. Just not as much, which is fine because I'm not spending time on it. Cool, guys. So hopefully this was great. If you found value, if you took away some golden nuggets here today, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so. If you're new, and most importantly, guys, leave your biggest takeaway in the comments below. There is one thing that I will share with you guys before this 12 days is over. That is very, very important. I'll probably share it with you guys tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow and we'll make it happen. All right, guys, have a good one. Happy hunting, and let's grow together and inspire each other. Bye.